Riveting conversation. I was actually eating. I didn't hear a word they said. My name is Sunshine, joined by the great, well, I was going to say Heffa Klumpen, but he is now known as Joel Larson. GG. Very good.
Good game.
What are you expecting for this game, Joel? Anything? Let's forget about what you're expecting, because who knows? What do you want to see? That's the important question.
I would want to see somebody going into mages. I know that one of our players has been forcing mages a lot. And if he can make that happen in a metagame where it's open, I think that could be a thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a little harder to come by now, but, I mean, that could be a possibility.
I want somebody to go Assassins, and they get to find the trifecta. It's like the Holy Grail, but you have to find it 3 times, unfortunately.
Right.
It's very difficult. You get Pocket Sands, you get Mask of Madness, you get BKB. You get those things and level 3 units.
Yeah, and PA3, exactly.
PA or Slark 3.
PA3.
Slark 3 with BKB.
Yeah, he's
PA3 with
whatever.
Mask of Madness. That's fine.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right.
Looks like we are in game now, so let's take a gander at what our level 1 units are. Very interested to see what people prioritize. 4 people go Venomancer.
Yep.
That's a 50% rate right there,
I
buddy.
mean, best starting unit in the game. We even see one player losing this first round. Why would he do that? It doesn't matter, right?
Yep. First round does not matter.
Yeah, because if you lose a round, you don't lose any HP, of course, but you only get a lower tier item, and in the first round can be lower.
I think they should add 1 tier 0 item.
Yeah.
Just a lump of coal.
Yeah, like a stick or something.
It does 1 damage to you every 5 rounds that you have it, and you can't get rid of it for the rest of the game. So losing against this level 1 creep punishes you hard.
Sounds good for all the players who are waiting for the loading screen, and then they miss out on the first round.
That's too bad. Get a better phone, all right?
All right, so we have a Venomancer 2, so that's a pretty big deal for all the other players going Venomancer. What do you think about the Warlock global item, Soul-Sucking Siphon?
Yeah, so it's interesting because it works for, it heals based on abilities and items being cast. So it's not good for all the Warlocks. Like Venomancer himself, not great.
No.
Right? It doesn't really do anything, actually.
Works very well with mages, works well with Morphling, works well with Dagon, for example.
Yeah.
So
True.
So it's kind of hard to build in Warlocks mages. It doesn't always work, but I mean, there's some potential there.
All right, now that let me correct myself. In theory, Venomancer, it's not based on him healing. It's based on his allies that are close to him. So if you get like this, like if last game, if they had this Soul-Sucking Siphon with the Veno 3, with the Octarine Essence and the CM, okay, that's pretty disgusting.
I mean, have you Tinker 3? We talked about how amazing that is, but if you have a Tinker 3 with Soul-Sucking Siphon, I mean, that unit will not die.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Even more Venomancers.
I mean, the more the better, honestly, when it comes to Venomancer.
Right now, CML is praying to the RNGesus for Tooth and Claw. Or you could get Summoning Stone on round 3.
Or more Venomancers.
I think he wants both.
Yes.
He wants all of the above. Let's see what he gets here. Overall, not the greatest choice of items so far. Gloves of Haste is fine.
Yeah.
Soul-Sucking Siphon, I think, is very situational.
Gloves of Haste gets a little bit better on Veno in the early game because it lets him use his ability more times, and when they're lower level, they have lower cooldown, so that's definitely something to look at. So what do we have here? We have some Racers. We have a super early Fall from Grace.
That's nice.
Doesn't work that well with Bedfellows because you don't have that many humans together with Bedfellows, but I think it's going to go into Knights after seeing that.
Yeah. I think YCA is set up really well. I mean, the fact that you get Fall from Grace, he got this round 2.
Yeah.
Because completing the cycle, which is widely considered at the very minimum a top 5 global item right now. It's extremely strong, and you have to get at least level 2 of it.
Yes.
They increase the radius, and it's disgusting as long as you get druids.
Right. But I think considering he has a few Knights now, he will definitely go for a lot of Knights. Why is it good with Knights? Well, first off, they have a lot of physical damage, so it works very well with armor reduction. And Knights also have 3 natural, either humans or Heartless. They have Abaddon, being, of course, a Heartless, and the 2 humans in Dragonite and Omenite.
That's right. You just got a couple of them. I mean, typically you want to put 2 Warlocks with a Knight set up anyway, so typically Necro will be that finishing blow, if you will, for the 4 Heartless. Of course, you could end up going 4 Knights and not committing all the way, and then end up putting another human and or Heartless to get the 6.
Right.
But since they nerfed it, it used to be minus 20 armor, now it's minus 15, I believe.
Yeah. So going up to 6 is not that often.
Good. It's still really good.
I mean, if you go there and we're doing the Mium Heartless build, you can even get a Tekis in which are also based on physical damage, and that's can be very powerful.
Yeah, that's one that a lot of people are confused by, especially when they come from Dota, because remote mines in Dota are magical, but yeah, they're physical in this game, so minus armor is super crazy with techies.
For sure. Here we can see playing in Shaunice, who seems to be having an assault, right? The troll buff coordinated assault.
Yeah,
which works quite well with Veno, because it also helps the Venom wards, but giving the early Fall from Grace and some powerful Knight units, I think YCA4 is gonna take this round.
What do you think about coordinated assault level 1?
I think...
so just to give an idea, 10 attack speed, right? Gloves of Haste, I believe, is 20, I want to say, right?
Correct.
So it's half of a Glove of Haste, but for anyone in that vicinity.
I think it's quite powerful, because you only need one troll to make it happen, to get the entire buff. However, with all of these items that works with cells away from you, you have to clump up your units, which can be quite scary if your opponent has a lot of AoE mechanics, like AoE damage, maybe Tide. But then again, in this patch, Tide being nerfed, Coddle being worse, there's less of that, so I think it's a little bit better now than it was previously.
Okay.
Yep. And we can see YC4 being in top 3. Let's look at Snoth, who's in the first place right now.
Sure.
He's been doing very well for himself.
Indeed. I mean, Blink Dagger on Venom, that's an early ward coming out, I guess.
So we have the two most powerful units, level 2, that are costing 1 gold, Tiny and Venomancer.
I'm trying to think if that is a correct statement.
Well, go ahead, sir. Joel's correct.
The only other unit I can think of that I really like is Batrider.
Sure, but on its own, he's not that powerful at level 2 in comparison to both Tiny and Venomancer.
You need a front line. Yeah, okay. I do love me some Tiny, so I can't disagree with you.
Tiny, incredibly powerful unit. He kind of works throughout the game because his toss stuns, so in the late game that's still a powerful thing, and deals magic damage, and so that Primordials usually work with mages. And lastly, the damage is actually quite relevant. I mean, the toss damage is quite huge in the beginning.
Are you surprised that he's putting Blink Dagger on Veno instead of Tiny? I mean, Tiny gets the early AoE damage, like you said, with toss. But Veno, because you have another Warlock, you're at least activating that a little earlier. But everyone's at full HP when this happens, so I don't know how much that matters.
I think it's fine considering he has 2 Warlocks, so if he gets off his spell early, that's going to trigger the life gain, so Venomaster is actually going to be able to tank some damage immediately and get his ward off. So it definitely works early. When you have more units, blinking into a horde of units,
let me put it this way.
So it's a little bit worse.
If you have it on Tiny, do you think you get worse with it?
Tiny?
Or is it just like super situational?
No, I mean, I think Tiny is definitely really good with it, but in this lineup, I feel like you need Tiny to front line to protect both Witch Doctor and Batrider. So you don't want him to be at the end of, in the middle of nowhere, and your backline is getting attacked.
Right. Oh, we have one Assassins player, Max. He's 0-4. That sounds like an assassin to me. So 3 assassins with a random tinker. This lineup is really bad right now.
Has Final Flash though, right?
That's right. Synergizes quite well with nobody on the lineup right now.
However, I do believe he's trying to build up a bench of mages, because he has Final Flash 2. And Final Flash 2 in comparison to 1 is huge difference, because otherwise it triggers off 10%, which is usually, I mean, they just die. I mean, they don't get their spell off usually. So Final Flash 2, immensely much better than rank 1.
What do you think of Final Flash right now in its current state? Because, like, forget about the tiers right now. Just in theory, it used to be better because, again, like, there's some units like CM, for example, or Coddle, who I would say is not very strong with it. And, of course, Razor is now a level 1 unit. That was more like one of the best units for him to just get off another plasma field. But aside from that, like, Lich is obviously your #1 candidate.
Yeah, exactly. So there's multiple reasons going into that. Yes, it's worse because before it was always 30%. Mages were better because you were easier going into later stages of the game. So getting that Final Flash off was easier in the way that it was so powerful with Lich and Razor 2. So I feel like it's definitely gotten worse by a quite wide margin, actually.
And here's another question. This one I actually don't know the answer to. A lot of these questions I'm asking are rhetorical.
Sure.
I keep calling you.
Sure.
What is it?
Sure.
Joel Larson,
rhetorical.
GG.
Sure.
Rhetorical. If I ask a stupid question throughout the entire tournament, guys, whether it sounds like I'm joking or not, believe me, I know the answer to that. That's definitely the case. But what was I saying? I actually completely forgot.
That's probably for the best.
Help me, Joel. Oh, no, okay, I remember. At what point is best to start going, like, committing to mages. Like, of course, he hits Final Flash, and sure, he wants to go mages, in theory. Doesn't always work out that way. But what round do you think, like, all right, I need to start putting them in actuality?
I think that there's 2 ways to go mages. And, I mean, I'm not the best mage player because I think it's pretty hard to do that right now. So I might not be the expert on that exact subject. But I do believe that if
Self-deprecating, I like it.
If you're going mages, you want to have the other side of the mage lineup finished first, because that's usually the units that will win you more games early. So say that you go for warriors or something that's your front line, and then you can kind of build up from the back end with mages. You can either do that, or you can, if you have a really bad start, you get a mage's flash, of course, that helps. You can go into a losing streak and start building up mages immediately. So I feel like that's the 2 ways, because mages early aren't that powerful before they level up, and a lot of them cost a lot of gold. And CM, of course, being very powerful to enable units in the late game, doesn't do a whole lot early game.
Yeah. Sells off the time to get to that interest point at 30 gold, and will probably lose here again because his... Oh, it's to the creeps, of course.
But he will probably lose, yes. Unless Slark does wondrous job here.
Nah, it's going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe if Slark got that buff? No, even that, probably not enough.
I think if Slark doesn't get attacked immediately, there's a chance that he can go up in his Essence Shift and disarm a few units. Maybe it would have been possible, but...
Yeah, the first time I realized that Pounce works on each time he moves, my goodness.
Yeah, it's a real deal.
I mean, if they ever need to nerf him, which I don't think they really do just because Assassins are just not that strong right now, but if they did... You'd make that more of like an active ability instead of just passive. That is super strong. 2 passives.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Who
else has? Does anybody else have 2 passives?
Let's see.
Like Viper has one active, 1 passive.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Probably someone.
Off the top of my head, I'm not
same.
sure.
Yeah, same.
I asked the hard questions here, Joel.
Oh, what about Troll?
That's 1.
Does it work? No, I mean, he has alliances, right?
No, alliances don't.
It was close. It was close.
Get out.
All right.
Coordinated assault, if you have... I mean, that's basically another troll buff, right?
All right, so we're now at max, which is at the bottom. So he's trying to do the lose streak with the mages, trying to build them up, much like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, he's actually going to get to 50 really fast.
Yeah, for sure. He probably has maybe the highest amount of gold total net worth in the game. Maybe Snowf has better because he has such a good streak. Let's have a look. You can see him at 68, so Snowf has more, but he has more or the same as Chow Knives in total net worth. And this is what happens when you start the losing streak early.
Yeah, so you're essentially trading HP for gold.
Right. So the consideration here is that, much like you said, you're trading HP versus gold, but you don't want to win half of your matches and lose half, because then your net worth will be bad, and that way you can't recuperate as well in the late game.
The entire skill of this game comes... I mean, obviously there's some RNG involved in terms of like getting off to a good start or not, but finding the balance between leveraging your HP as a resource versus putting investment into your board to make sure you just don't lose really fast. It's a very, very, very fine balance.
Yes, I agree.
And probably the hardest thing to master, honestly, knowing when to level, especially in this patch where it's, like we said, it's not cookie cutter.
No,
you can play different literally every single game, and it could be correct every single time.
Seems like Max is gonna go for the Scrappy buff together with mages, and Scrappies are a super solid front line. Works very well because they tank for a long time. They get a lot of armor, but also most of them actually deal magic damage, so they go very well with mage buff.
So we're gonna keep an eye on him from a side here, because this is when he's gonna start to. Obviously, he just leveled up. With this next round, he'll be leveled up to 6. And he can start slow leveling until 7, and then that's when the decision comes into play whether he wants to invest a lot of gold there or not. Chow Knives. Oh, 2 level 2 Venoms. Let's take a look at him.
Ooh.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is big for him, for sure. He's gonna... If he gets an early Venom 3, he's gonna have a...
Oi.
he's gonna have a good place to kind of get back into the game, because now he's kind of low and he's starting to win a little bit, so he really would want to keep winning. Otherwise, as we said earlier, his interests aren't going to be at his best. Let's have a look at that. So Snowf is definitely doing well.
Let's take a look at him.
Yeah, he has a lot of level 2 units. Queen Pain level 2, super strong in the beginning. Kind of awkward weak in the 10th. Maybe he can work it for the late game.
You know, this was not working the other day. I hope it's working for his sake.
I didn't even know.
We'll see. I'm sure it's pretty visible once he actually gets some Heartless in play, but not there yet.
So Nair not going Scrappish this game, even though it seems to be one of his favorite setups. Ooh, close game here. Can we have a look at YCA, see what it's doing?
It's YCA.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
Ooh, so we have 2 Druids at level 2. So one of the early... So Druid works so that if you have 2 of them, one of them at random, the lowest rank one, will get an upgrade into 3-star, if they're both 2-star. So this is going to be the earliest you see a rank 3 unit or 3-star unit this early. He also has the natures... He has the global item.
Yeah, and this is the guy we talked about earlier. Remember, he got the first 3 items, and we're like, well, this is where you can kind of get into trouble where you just can't decide what strategy, because these do not synergize, let me tell you.
I honestly, personally, I thought it was kind of like, okay, I got the Fall from Grace, I'll go all in on that, and I'll not care about these early items that I got, but it somehow kind of made it work that he's using 2 of them, and if you see his bench, he's maybe looking to use all 3 of them. It'd be crazy.
I mean, I'd be surprised if you hold on to all of this late game, but we'll see. We'll see, because with the front line completing the cycle, look at how much HP this is going to regen. Of course, this is a level 3 tree, so it's going to be quite a bit of effort to actually kill him.
Yeah. But as we said earlier, Chow Nice have a super big spike here with his double Veno, and he also has the attack speed buff with his trolls. So he's super powerful right now. Let's see if he can transition.
Do dead bodies count as trolls? Does that buff wards when you're dead?
Only if you have the alliance, but not if you have the coordinated assault. Okay,
so I think the thing that YCA is looking for right now is either Dragon Knight or Omni Knight, just to get... if you're going to stick with Knights, at least you can get the Heartless, because right now he's at... Oh, he is at 2. Oh, sorry, we see a draw here. Okay. Yeah. But you can easily put in 2 more Knights if you really want to go for that, and like we talked about, it's very easy to get the 4 Heartless. But this is the Wolf round. Is it it's Savage Wolf, right? What are these actually called? Let's see.
I'm not sure.
Let's click on one of these.
I know they have mega critical strike.
Big wolf. Small wolf.
Well, that makes sense,
and the fact that all the small wolves don't have, like, there's no distinguishing factor between them, right? Like, there should be small wolf Bob, small wolf Johan, you know, anything. These guys need to have an identity. They're just big wolves and small wolves.
I mean, they're as generic as they come.
Maybe that'll be a cosmetic. It's like the worst cosmetic. You need to pay money to rename the wolves. Oh, yeah. You said that Valve has your number for good ideas. Well, you have mine for really god-awful ones.
Most definitely.
But this is actually a completely... It feels like a random assortment like you talked about, but there are reasons for this.
I mean, it works, right?
Yeah, for now, it's working.
Even if you go in bedfellows, we talked about that you can go worse as a frontline. You can also go Knights. So that could work together. And if you get 2 Druids in there, probably not, but that might help him here in the early to mid game.
Snowf actually lost against the big wolves and the small wolves, and as a result, he downranked into a tier 2 Aegis. That's not the worst thing to fall into.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a downrank?
That's true. Technically, it is, but you know that is pretty good. Can't
not
complain
the worst.
too much.
Not the worst. Yeah. So it seems like he's an interesting setup here. He has a kind of misplaced Queen of Pain. He has his 2 Warlocks, but also trying to go into Scrappies. The 2 units that doesn't really make sense there are the Tiny and the Quap. But since they're so powerful in the early game, he'll probably keep them as long as he can, and then maybe transition away from them.
Right. Yeah, for now he's looking pretty good though. Might lose this round.
I mean, it's Chow Knives.
Chow Knives is, yeah. We'll take a look at his board after this just to get a better look. But we've talked about it so many times with this coordinate assault. It's really good.
It's very Dota-like, right? You build up a wall of wards around your units.
The thing is, you can trap yourself in Dota. I don't know if you can do that in this game. But Chow Knives, who we're looking at, right? He's actually...
Wow, he lost.
Yeah, he did lose to somebody.
He seems to be beating everyone when we're looking at their boards, but losing himself.
I mean, that's how it works, right? But here's the thing. He's about to hit level 7, and I do believe, I could be wrong, but this is the perfect opportunity to start rolling to get that Veno 3, especially when you're only 2 away.
No, you're right.
You have a really good chance of actually finding it.
Yeah, because at level 7, you still have 30% to hit that level 1 unit, but you still give yourself a high chance to hit those better units, so your rolls aren't that bad. Right. So there's a high chance to both hit DK while having a reasonable amount of chance to hit Venomancer. But since he's still at 47 life, probably don't want to roll too much below 50 gold.
So this is the thing about his lineup that's very interesting that I find myself struggling with at times. Obviously, we've talked about Fall from Grace. That's really good with dragons, or with knights, which he's following suit here. You want 2 warlocks with knights, in theory.
Right.
Venomancer actually is not that great.
No.
Right? You want a Shadow Fiend, you want a Warlock, or a Witch Doctor, you want a Neck or something like that.
Maybe
but
not Shadow Fiend. I'm giving
because of CK, if you go 6 knights. Sure, if you go 4, though, you can have some other considerations. But
true.
Venomancer is like not the top of the list, but the fact that he's so close to level 3, it feels like you kind of got to go for it.
I mean, that's the thing about this game, right? It's not scripted in any way. You got to take what you get, and you got to work around that in the best way possible. And that's what the game is all about, being flexible, being ready for whatever comes at you. And, you know, yeah, that's it.
Or don't be, and just force every strategy. That's also a consideration as well.
Yeah, you can follow Sunsfan's school of playing Untitled Underlords, so you can follow Joel's.
I'm very close to Lord by playing that way. Okay? I'm not that far away.
Right.
But Chow Knives, we'll see what he's doing with his economy. This is actually really interesting to me. So he's at 49 right now. I would assume that he rolls a bit, but that's my play style, and obviously a lot of people have different takes.
Right. As we mentioned earlier, you don't have to roll actually until the round begins, so there's a good chance it's going to wait until the round begins, and then we're going to see whether he rolls or not. Oh, no, he's actually rolling right now.
Okay, rolling to 40, selling some units, finds a couple CKs. All right, so at 4 knights right now. Lineup is relatively good. Wouldn't say it's super strong yet, but he's actually pretty close to getting a fairly strong lineup.
He's in like an awkward position where he wants to roll for Venomancer, but he wants to keep high interest. But then again, he's not really winning a ton, so he's kind of doing it in between here. And I mean, you got to figure out what's best and just go for that. And I think his position, although his position is very difficult because he's beating a lot of players, but
he beats Snowf on his board, as you can see here.
But sometimes, I mean, we've seen him losing too, so he's not getting that win streak, so which makes it a lot easier. Yeah. For sure. We can say TrueMad having a streak here. I wonder what his lineup looks like. Let's have a look. So he's... Oh, here we have a good mage lineup with Strange Bedfellows and Animage.
Age of Chivalry. Wait, which one who are you looking at? TrueMad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's click on him.
Sure.
Let's have a look. All right, so he has a TK frontline because he doesn't have... Oh, he does have Puck. So he's frontlining DK and I guess a couple of disruptors because... You know, why not?
Oh, I didn't even see the big-time contract. Oh, man.
Yeah,
that's always an awkward one, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, but this is a great place to be as a mage player. He's streaking this early, and he has a high life total. And mages transition quite well into the late game. So I think there's a good opportunity for TrueMad here to go into 6 mages. And yeah, I think it's looking really good for him.
All right, here's the question for you. I don't know if it's possible, but let's say round 20. You have a choice of a second big-time contract. Do you do it?
No.
Are you sure? Can you resist the urge that is the big-time contract?
I do love Blood. You should ask, if you have the chance, you should ask Sunsfan how many times I've shown him pictures of weird Blood contract
I thought that was going to go a different route there, buddy. That showed you a lot of pictures. Yeah, the big-time contract. No, yeah, I mean, this is what I've said all along. You're a very lucky person, Joel. You're also good at the game, but you're very lucky.
I mean, it's a good combination,
You're
right?
Bloodbounds.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Pretty disgusting.
Speaking of Bloodbounds, time for potato and tomato.
Indeed.
Or potato and
this, in theory, like as the creeps progress, mages have a harder and harder time dealing with them.
However, seriously, if you do go for Bloodbound, I think the best thing is not to meme it and go too many Bloodbounds, but you want maybe one of them and the contract. And if you do have that, it's amazing on DK and Luna. And we can see him having DK here already. And actually, since he has the contract, and if he's going 6 mages, there's definitely a possibility to get Ogre as one of them and put the Blood contract on DK.
Yeah,
and as we know, DK gets splash damage, so extra damage is super powerful.
He just lost, so he could get the Blood contract.
I mean, I'm hoping.
Or big-time contract.
But honestly, you don't need a second one, right? Because you only need the contract, and you put in the Ogre
Magi.
But
you don't want Ogre. Come on. Come on, dude.
I mean, it works as a 6 mage, I think.
Come on. There's 7 mages for a reason. Because you don't have to put Ogre in there.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Things change, you know. You got to go what you.
I would love for Ogre to be really good.
What do you think about this big tanker Coddle?
I mean, it's better than nothing, considering he's literally never going to use his ult. But the problem is, this gives 50 mana. He still has 100 mana to go. He did get level 2 now. Still has 100 mana to gain after blinking. And this is this is an old, decrepit man on a horse in the middle of the action with Blink Dagger, with essentially what a normal hero would have a 0 mana, right?
Right.
I don't know. But let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. I don't have a lot of confidence.
We talked about a little bit earlier, one of the difficulties going for mages these days is that Razor is now level 1. So if you don't get it early, it's kind of harder to get it later.
Sorry, do you get what?
So Razor now costs 1 gold instead of 3. So that makes the spikes of mages a little bit different. And if you don't get an early Razor, it can kind of get awkward to get them late.
Yeah, that's true.
Which does pivot the way for Ogre Magi instead.
All right.
All right.
You got me there, buddy.
Yep.
I mean, if you have blood... I keep wanting to say blood contract, big time contract. It makes a lot more sense.
I think I've said blood contract all this time.
I think that's you infecting my brain right now. But Blink Dagger on Coddle worked pretty well that time. His Coddle Blast was a little off, but he did do a decent amount of damage. In fact, let's just take a game. Oh, he did the most damage on the team. Look at that.
Seems like the old Coddle almost.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking real good for TrueMad. He has a large streak. Going below 50 gold, I think it's mostly to protect the streak. If you finish the streak, that's worth a lot of gold. You get that 4 extra chunk of gold, which is big. You can even see Nairo streaking pretty hard now. Let's have a...
Well, let's look at this round first.
We have the Venom 3 now. Look at that.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
You know...
Coddle.
You know what's good against a bunch of wards?
Magic, yeah.
AoE damage.
An old man. That's what it is. You guys ever need to get rid of those pesky plague wards, just get an old man anytime. So, Chow Knives, right? Let's take a look at him now.
Good at eating those bananas, right?
Man, that would be a great cosmetic, turning into a banana. By the way, our set got in. I don't know if you saw that. They're going to be putting in the Dota Cinema Veno set for Veno.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. About. Yeah,
very sexy young man.
One of the updates I've been looking for a long time that we saw in Dota Outer Chest.
Yeah, for sure.
Cinematic change. I mean, it feels so good when you get, that PA3. Which doesn't look that much more insane in this game.
Some of them look better than others, for sure.
Yeah. Venomancer is one of the most beautiful ones, for sure.
Thank you.
You
did a good job there. That?
No, for sure not.
Thank you so much. They did change a decent amount about it, but okay. What do we have? Is this
big change? We have the Abaddon
4 knights now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abaddon 2, and you would want another Heartless, but since he has Fall from Grace, you would want to look for that DK. That would be perfect.
This Terrorblade jumps in, but Venomancer will prevail as always, because this hero is disgusting at level 3. Look at this. Unbelievable.
Except for that last round where he lost pretty hard.
Every single time, he is amazing.
So we can see a pretty clear lead by both TrueMad, as we talked about earlier, and then Nairo having tons of health. He has almost double the health of the third player, so it's looking real good for him. And he's actually going for the Brawny buff. Look at that. Can we have a look at Nairo?
Sure. So this is the level 2 Brawny buff, 50 max HP. And the fact that he has Hunters is shocking. Oh, we might see a level 3. Oh, I have not seen level 3 Jug yet.
Have you?
He just got
22 kills. 22 kills on that Juggernaut.
Let's see. 22, and this one is 1.
So
that's his little brother.
That's 23.
And that's it. All right, so 1 Brawny, but like we said, Juggernaut was buffed level 2 and level 3 respectively. So we'll see how big of a difference it makes. I'm sure it'll be noticeable, or not.
The Brawny buffs, which only gains health, are the best at protecting a very powerful, high damage dealing lineup. And one of them is Hunters. They deal tons of damage, but as soon as their front line dies, they all die. Like right now, they all die very quickly. And same goes for mages. So the Brawny buff, if you get it, very powerful at protecting a good backline.
Right. And the great thing about getting Jug 3 right now, very underrated. He might be bad, but that also means no one is picking him up, Joel.
Yeah, I think we can press the tab button and for sure see not a single other Juggernaut.
All right, let's investigate here. It looks like you are correct.
Yes.
Now, if you're trying to prevent your opponent from getting that all-powerful Juggernaut 3, you could always fill up your bench with Juggernauts. Just remember, kids. And
you will have found yourself a nemesis for life.
Right, but don't try this at home because it is Juggernaut after all.
And also, that's a bad idea.
Yes. Round 25. See how the Hunters fare here. Blink Dagger on Doom right now. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Blink Dagger's not on Lycan instead. But not much of a front line, I guess, is the main thing here. Now that you have the 3 Warrior, it's a little bit better.
For sure. I mean, Lycan now not being a warrior himself, not as tanky. So you don't want them to be in the front line anymore, because before you wanted to get the transform off as soon as possible. But it's a little bit easier now to put him on the side because he gains the, of course, the hunter buff, so it means he attacks faster and gets mana quicker as well. It's actually going to be pretty close, but I think maybe the assassinate will get him there.
Yeah. Is this the Juggernaut with a lot of HP?
Yes.
Yeah, 23 kills. So.
And assassinate finishes off. You can't dodge that. Can't dodge that.
You couldn't auto chest every time. Actually, it was very easy to dodge. Ooh, Tide Hunter. Well, Tide Warrior, I should say. Not really a hunter anymore. What do you think of 6 hunters? Is this a consideration? You have Moran on the bench?
No, I like it. You have a super... with these jugs and the Bronze buff, I think you have a really good front line. So all you need is tons of damage, and it makes sense to get Tide Hunter because it copes very well with, of course, Medusa. So you can protect yourself from magic damage, have a strong front line against physical damage, so it kind of works out.
Right. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Oh! All right.
There we go.
This is not the updated health, guys. 25 kills. I don't want to do... Let's not do the math. Let's just pretend it's not possible to do the math so we don't seem like complete idiots. Has the 5 hunters right now, so missing out on... Okay, that's 6.
And we're at 6.
Level 1. What do you think of level 1 Mirana?
I think Mirana became a lot better.
Yeah, I agree.
She's actually quite good now. Before, she was literally useless. She felt like a tier 3 unit at cost 4. And even at that, she was not better than a lot of them.
3,800 HP.
Let's see if the Venomancer 3 prevails.
I want to look at the damage here for Jug.
Yeah.
He's dying.
Yeah, we can click on the enemy damage and see Venomancer instead, maybe. And he's up there.
Pretty good. Pretty solid. I mean, anytime anybody faces Veno, feels like they just get destroyed.
Trueman streaking again. He actually went up to 9, so I think Trueman has a really good position in this game, being at high health. When you're up to 9, and he even found a Lich, so that's amazing for him. That means he can go for 2 Warlocks with Shadow Fiend and Disruptor, also get the DK, and have the Lich.
All right, let's pay attention to CML first, and then I'll head over to Truemat, since it's been a while since I've seen the Lich with the 6 mages. Should be fun, but this is one of our top performers today. Not doing so hot this time around.
Nope. Yeah, so CML is definitely close to getting kicked out here. The issue with this lineup also is that it doesn't transition that well. This is kind of a mess, right?
Yeah.
He has 2 Scrappers, not that powerful, and we only have 2. 2 Druids, they're not that great in the late game. 3 Hunters, also kind of medium. I mean, he has a lot of small alliances, but all those alliances get so much better if you have a little bit more of them. So, but it does have the Nature's Guys. Is it called Nature's Guys?
No.
No.
You're talking about the this.
Yeah, it's completely cycle. Close enough.
Nature's Guys makes you invisible, so not quite there. It's okay. Maybe that'll be in the future Treant, the evil Treant that will come.
Oh
Nature's Guys.
Oh yeah, that's the Dota ability, right?
It's now a passive, I believe.
Joel's old Dota knowledge kicking in.
Yeah, that's right.
In the wrong place, wrong time, but you know, that's fine.
That's for your future Dota career. It's fine.
Oh, we have a lover of Blade Mill here as well. Very surprising.
Wow. Yeah. Well, with elusive targets 3, so 100% evasion for the first 4 seconds of battle, and
working for 2 units.
2 units. So Tree. So this used to be really bad on Tree because it made them invisible. But now that it's just completely missing, this is very good for Tree.
Yes.
And almost useless for Windrunner.
Yep.
Ranger. Ugh. I can't say that.
I remember an old game where you accidentally picked it, and then you were playing assassins, and all of a sudden you didn't have a front line.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the nail and tough playing as Chow Knives. Doesn't have enough damage.
It feels like everyone we watch is against
maybe not. Maybe not. I thought he was...
cycle.
Yeah, completing the cycle, doing a lot. I was thinking that Chow Knives, he wouldn't have enough damage to kill the front line fast enough, so Venomancer would go off. But then again, completing cycle kind of prevented Chow Knife from killing him, because Chow Knife also doesn't have that much burst damage. So.
We have
very
4 players that are very, very low on HP. Question is, can they hang on? Well, one of them is Chow Knives with 2 level 3 units now. So Bat Rider joins the club. Of course, the Coordinated Assault is still there. Do you like this position? Oh, I guess Witch Doctor's here as well.
Not sure what's going on with the position. I would probably... It's awkward, right? Because you want to protect the backline, which is in the bottom, but you also want the Coordinated Assault. And you want Luna, because she has very low range, to be able to attack immediately, so she doesn't run around before she starts attacking. It's very hard to kind of fix this lineup. Oh, We got a
Dragon
CK.
Knight, though.
Finally. I mean the DK. This is our Fall from Grace player as well, right?
Yes.
I would love to see another human or heartless here. I think that would change greatly. I see that he has 2 trolls, and sure, that's nice and all, but I think that...
Not a good matchup here.
Yeah. I feel like you want to find Necrophos here. I don't think the 2 trolls are worth the buff.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sharnev's actually...
He actually died.
Yeah.
Okay.
While Venomancer 2 is really good, it does fall off a little bit, so you have to complement him with some other units later in the game, and I feel like Sharnev's wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Veno is amazing. I've talked this hero up so much, but it does not fit in this lineup, unfortunately.
No.
Like, not super well, at least.
And also,
like, if you had even just Tooth and Claw, then it's super justified that you just... That's a very important hero, though.
Tooth and Claw, Octar in Essence, maybe a CM, something like that.
Summoning Stone, even.
Right, Summoning Stone, that would definitely help. And now we're looking at YC4, looking to be the next player on the chopping block, because CML is streaking right now. So he's probably not losing anytime soon. We have
Coordinated Assault 3.
Super powerful. Very powerful.
Has the Heartless bonus.
Do you think he'll manage to do this? 2 Terrorblades?
2, yes.
Oh, we'll see.
Yes.
Oh, BKB. All right.
Yeah.
So we have another
okay
BKB Terrorblade. So he's definitely looking for 2 more Terrorblades, and that's going to be an enormous buff to his lineup.
Another meta. There you go. I always like how when Terrorblade metamorphoses, he has to step back. He's like, wait a second. Let me step back here and get you from long range instead of just hitting it melee.
Yes, because of the Coordinated Assault buff, he wants to step back. It's like, wait, hold on a second. Things changed.
The AI with Coordinated Assault is always pretty funny.
Yeah.
What did he get here?
And
he had this before.
This is the player that we talked about that had completed cycle and the Fall from Grace and Bedfellows. And he managed to play for Fall from Grace, then went into Druids for the mid game, got out of Druids to go for Bedfellows in the late game.
Right.
So super important here to find a Terrorblade 3.
It's essentially like Knights Demons, right? That's what it feels like.
It's very awkward for YC4 here, that YCA4, that he doesn't have a level 2 Dragon or Chaos Knight, sorry, with these Bedfellows. I mean, he would very happily change Luna for that. Maybe, I guess he has 3 elusives, so maybe not. But I mean, another demon would definitely do well for both these Terrorblades.
Would you put the CK in right now for Gyro?
No, not at level 1, I don't think. But then again, I mean, both both Terrorblades still getting the demon buffs since there's no other demons. For those who didn't know, who are new to the game, the demon buff works. So if you have another demon, you don't get the buff. But if you have 2 of the same one, you still get the demon buff.
Yep, that's right.
And
he
he's
gets
out.
decimated here, so he's out. CML wins on his board. All right, who do you want to watch, buddy? How about all 4?
Ooh.
Do you think that's a consideration we could do?
I mean,
do we have the technology, ladies and gentlemen,
no,
to have
that would be
4
impossible.
screens on at the same time?
Impossible.
Is it possible? I'm going to keep saying, is it possible until it is possible?
I think that's 10 years in the future, man.
Wow.
That can happen.
Wow, you don't have a lot of faith in WePlay. 4 players left, and it's a creep round. No, it's not. It's round 32. Never mind. All right, TrueMad on top here. Whose lineup do you like going into the late game?
TrueMad still. I mean, I said it 10 rounds ago. He had such a good advantage when he had mages already. And mages transition so well into the late game. He even has Final Flash, does he not? And I mean, it looks fantastic for him, honestly. I think it's going to be hard to beat him here. And he even went up to 10. We don't see that very often, do we?
Yeah, that's really, that's a great point. You almost never see that.
Because all the other players... Oh, we see another player 10. Snowf is actually at 10 as well.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's insane.
But he seems to be losing pretty disgustingly big versus TrueMad.
Disgustingly big, indeed.
Let's not name more words about that. Right?
So CML is out now, so we are down to 3. Snowf, Nitro, or Nero, sorry, and TrueMad.
So we see Snowf going for Scrappies, and he's combining with Warlocks, which works quite well because there's Alchemist, and usually Shadowfin's really good. However, it's super awkward now that TrueMad is leaning with mages. Because, yes, sure, Warlocks are great and they gain a bunch of life, but if you just burst your targets down, it doesn't really matter.
I love this Dagon, by the way, on TrueMad. 6 mages with a random Dagon now on CM. That's going to decimate somebody. And it's probably going to be this potentially gyro. Ooh, I see the gyro sniper combo, my friend.
Ooh.
You don't get to see that very often.
Deadeye,
I don't even know.
right?
It's Deadeye.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I literally could not remember the name.
Oh, and they're gone.
TrueMad is fine on his board.
Did Snowf have an Aegis?
I believe so, yeah. He took like more damage than HP he had.
So now he's survived 2 additional turns because of Aegis so far.
Yeah. Ooh, a level 1 Troll Warlord. So Troll Warlord is now obviously a legendary for those that haven't kept up with the changes. But the big thing with him is stats-wise, he's equivalent to the old level 2 Troll.
Yes.
So it's actually really good.
Yeah, huge buff. And also with the new Troll Alliance, you only need 2 Trolls to give everyone attack speed, even though it's not as much as if you have 4 Trolls. That's a definite buff. So pretty big.
5 Warlocks, by the way.
So we see Snowf spreading out his units here, and this is something you can do, especially when you get to the late game. There's more AoE stuns, and he also knows his opponents. I mean, previously you got to play against, what, 7 other opponents? It's a little bit hard to just justify moving your units in this combination. But now that he knows that there's a big mage player on the other side,
God
it becomes so different, and here we have the result.
Yeah, the Disruptor with Blink literally wins that fight, as long as he doesn't screw up the Static Storm.
So now Aegis have made him survive 3 rounds.
Yeah. Very, very strong.
Definitely.
And now he's top 2 because of Aegis. So Nero is out, and we're down to the 1v1 battle of the Ages. Of course, it is round 35, so we're going to see a creep round first, and I mean, we'll see what items actually come into play. Let's look at the items for both respective players. Of course, we have this random big-time contract that will never be used.
Nope.
It's there to taunt the enemy, to scare them into submission. Indomitable Will again picked up. I don't remember who picked it up last game, by the way. 25% less debuff on all these humans that are highlighted right now, which I guess DK is probably the most prevalent since Coddle has a channeling ability.
Still would want an Ogre instead of Razor. I'm still telling you. I mean, if you put broad contract with this DK, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Mages, of course, we talked about this. They struggle big time against these creatures. I believe, off the top of my head, I want to say 25% magic resist with this guy.
We even have a Lich too now. I think this is gonna bode very badly for Snowth. And we can even see TrueMad actually spreading his units. Sure, it was for the Dragon. But I think he should spread his units even against Snowth, because his big concern is this Disruptor. Disruptor stops an entire mage lineup if they're in the corner. And the reason to put all the mages in the corner is to be able to get your spells off for the most important mages against your opponent's front line. But in the late game, range units are better, so that's not really the case. And then we have a level 2 troll. Wow.
Here's the other thing about spreading out. The one downside is you have Pipe of Insight, which is really good, but it's going to apply to like one other hero now.
And that's where it gets hard, right? Otherwise, you would just always spread it out.
I mean, this Disruptor, this is literally what it comes down to. This Disruptor with Blink on the bottom right for Snowf has to get off something like super fast.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually a little bit surprised. I guess you do need Blink to get that off really fast. We're going to see potential double acid spray.
And here's another thing that becomes interesting when it comes to late game and 1 versus 1 is that you can actually look at your opponent's lineup, and then you can click on the mirror button so you see where their units are, and you're trying to perfect your position against your opponent. Maybe get a human silence off on an important enemy or something out of the kind.
All right, this is where Snowf wins on his board and TrueMad wins on his. This is my favorite part. It's like
and we
endless battle between heroes or between players that just can't win.
What do you think about Vanguard on Lich? Sure, it's good to make him more tanky so he gets off his spells.
You don't get the spells off faster, though,
but you don't get off the spell faster, exactly. So I think it's a little awkward here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to backseat here. This isn't really backseating if they can't hear me, though, right? Isn't that the whole point? Blink Dagger on Lich 2 sounds like the best thing in the entire world.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And also, Lich Ultimate actually doesn't have that much cooldown.
Yeah.
Does he have an Octarine Essence? Yes, he does on Shadowkin, actually. I could even see putting Octarine Essence on Lich. That could be a thing, something to consider.
Yeah, either one would probably be better.
Yeah. Because there's not really a high chance that Shadowfin will survive.
Snowf looks to be done here. Doesn't matter what's happening on the other board. Looks like he lost on both. So TrueMad, the only non-Lord player in this lobby, in this group, has won game 3.
Underdog story right there.
It is the underdog story.
Nice.
I want to see what they're... Actually, I'm sure the panel will talk at length about TrueMad and the great play that he displayed here today.
For sure.
and what his actual point total is, because that's
Yeah.
going to be the most interesting thing going to the next game. So let's see what the panel has to say about this game in its entirety.